Welcome back, golfers. Today I went on a quick mountain bike ride this morning, but main purpose of this trip was to give you my 10 favorite hip flexor drills, really help you in your golf game and get those hips nice and flexible so we can stay in posture. So stay tuned. So golfers, I love getting outside and doing cardio. To me, I don't like sitting in a gym. I'd rather go out to the outdoors, see a beautiful view like this one. And I love hiking and biking. But after you do these exercises, even with golf, you know, you get out done with a round of golf and you feel tight, especially your lower lumbar, maybe your hip flexors, and you gotta do some stretching. And these are stretches you can do before you go play around, before you go do exercise like this, or after post round, go and do your hip stretching. Hip stretching is so important because your hips are connected all the way through down your legs and up into your back. So typically whenever you have an issue up higher in your body, like in your lower lumbar, it's typically something that's happening down below. So we need to make sure our hip flexors are nice and stretched. So I'm going to give you my favorite hip stretches today so you can stay limber for a longer time in your life. So just as a reminder, if you have ever had any hip surgery or hip issues, make sure you consult with a doctor before doing any of these stretches. The first stretch we're going to do is just kind of a warm-up stretch. I'm really tight in my hamstring, so this is a stretch I like doing. What we're going to do, instead of a toe touch, we're going to go down and grab our toes. So at least we start down there. And then from there, we're just gonna press our butt and our legs back and kind of just go hold for 2-3 seconds, bring it back down. Take it up, hold for 2-3 seconds, bring it back down. Take it up, hold for 2-3 seconds, bring it back down. Back and forth. And you're gonna do this for like 30 seconds, just holding those toes and just each time just trying to get further and straighter with those legs. So hamstring extensions here. So the next stretch we're going to do, we're going to hit the inside part of our hip flexors. So what you want to do is just get into sitting position, back pretty straight. We're going to bring our feet together. This is going to be a butterfly stretch. So feet are together, you're going to grab those feet, you're going to pull those feet towards you and then rock the toes up. Then with your elbows, try to put a little bit of pressure into those inner calves and just press down. So try to stay nice and tall when we're doing this and just pressing downwards with the inside part of our hip flexors. So kind of in the groin area of our hips. You're just pressing down, just holding that, trying to get those knees as close to the ground as possible, pulling those toes up. That'll get deep in that stretch and just make sure you stay nice and tall when we do this. And that allows us to get a nice stretch on that inner part of those hip flexors. All right, so that's the butterfly stretch. So the next stretch we're going to do is another classic one, and that is a figure 4 stretch. So figure 4 stretch we'll do on both sides. So first we're going to start with the right side, and we're just going to bring our knee up, grab that shoe or that foot, bring it across, bring that knee up on that left side. We're going to grab underneath and then pull back. And at the same time, while you're pulling back, try to feel like your hips press down towards the ground. So we don't want to roll our back up. We want to be able to keep our back nice and flat on the ground and then just pressing downward through our hips as we're doing this, and that'll deepen the stretch. You should feel that on the right side, kind of right into that right hamstring and up into that glute, and you'll really feel that in the hip flexors. All right, so I'm going to show you the other side. So the same idea, bring that knee up, get it to about 90-degree angle, very vertical. Don't overstretch it, just try to get to where you're comfortable and then just deepen the stretch as you go. So you're pulling it towards you, pushing your tailbone down towards the ground while we're doing this, and you'll feel that deep stretch right in the back of that thigh right there. Just relax while you're doing it. Make sure you're breathing through all these stretches. Really important to make sure you're breathing through all the stretches and trying to just deepen them as you go. And the more you do them, do them 3 days a week, the more limber you're going to get, the better your body's going to feel, and easier it will be to hold positions in your golf swing. And day-to-day life, it's going to be easier as well. Hip flexors are super important. We sit a lot, so we need to make sure these hip flexors can stay mobile, because we constantly are shortening the fronts and lengthening the backs by sitting so much. And we want to make sure when we're stretching that we're able to get the hip flexors, you know, loose enough so that it counteracts what we do in our normal day-to-day life. We're now going to move into doing the backside of our hip flexors. So another pretty simple one. Now we're going to lay on our back again, just relaxing. All you're going to do is bring up a knee, bring it to 90 degrees, grab that back side of that knee and just pull it towards you, and just try to pull that stretch nice and deep, you know, as deep as you can till it's comfortable. Make sure your hips stay down, don't let them roll up. Stay nice and flat with that lower lumbar, and just hold and relax in this position. Hold it for 30 seconds, and then we'll switch to the other side. All right, so I'm going to show you the other side. Same idea, 90 degrees, and just the back of the knee, and just pulling back, relaxing, breathing while you're doing it. Just practice deepening that stretch. Just like that. So the next stretch we're going to do is kind of a fun one. It's called knee drops. So we're just going to come into that laying position again, back, and then bring the knees kind of out, and then from there kind of lay back, and then we're going to allow the knees just to fall to one way and then fall the other way. So we're going to do this for 30 seconds. Try not to let your back roll, kind of like I just did right there. Don't let it roll up there. Just try to hold it so it stays fairly flat. And then just let the knees kind of fall back and forth. And you just roll it. We're going to do this for 30 seconds. If you want to do it longer, that's fine. We're just going to go back and forth. These are called knee drops. And you'll just feel it on the outside part of those hip flexors as you're doing it. Rolling back and forth. You can hold it for like 2-3 seconds after you drop them if you want. Otherwise, just back and forth. Try to keep that back nice and flat. Just go as far as you can. Letting those knees kind of move. Building a little bit of mobility in those hip flexors. And that really kind of loosens you up too. It's a good warm-up drill as well. All right, the next one we're going to be laying on our back again. So most of these you can do on your back. We're going to bring your left leg out straight. We're going to bring our right knee up to 90-degree angle, and then from there grab it with your left arm or left hand, and we're going to grab the outside of that part of the knee, and we're just going to pull it across, and you'll feel it on the outside part of that leg. If you have sciatica issues, this is a really good one. Just relax, just let it pull, and we're going to hold that for 30 seconds. Like I was saying, if you want to do them both sides twice, great way to really get a deeper stretch in. If you just want to do it once, totally fine. Just make sure you get both sides. Make sure you're breathing through all these stretches, relaxing and deepening the stretch each time. And after 30 seconds, you switch. Go to the other side, just the same idea, up to 90 degree angle with that left leg. Grab with the right hand on the outside part of that knee, and then just pull it across and just relax, trying to pull your hip down at the same time you're pushing over. That'll deepen that stretch. But just try to relax into that motion. And remember, if you have pain in any of these stretches, you know, don't keep doing them. You know, there might be something going on in your hips, and if you feel pain, that's a sign that you should go see a doctor, physical therapist, or a chiropractor, and try to figure out what's going on in there. You should feel the stretch, not pain. All right. That's the lateral hip flexor stretch. So the next stretch we're going to do is a pigeon pose stretch. Comes from yoga. So what we're going to do is get onto the surface, all fours, kind of in that position. We're going to bring our leg forward and then cross it in front of us, just like that. So that leg's sitting flat in front, and then we're just going to drop down our hips, and we can stay up into this position, just pressing our hips downward. That's a really good stretch. The other way we could do this is go down on your forearms and just sit into that stretch from that position as well. You can move that stretch around if you want, down on your forearms. You can get different parts of that hip flexor. Mainly you're feeling it in that back hip flexor in here. But staying up into this position is really good. You can really create a lot of pressure downwards because you have weight to work with. And just trying to deepen that stretch as we go. So let's do the other side now. So bring up that right leg, bring it across, and then just pull that knee back, and then just sit into those hips. And just put downward pressure as you're doing it. Like I said, you can go down your forearms and go into that position as well. That might deepen the outside part. If you want to deepen just the center and just pressing down to stay up in that position, feel what feels right to you. Either way works really well. I like doing both ways, and just feeling a nice deep stretch right in those hip flexors. You're also going to feel in the front hip flexor there, and that's a really good one for those sitting muscles. That's a part that's really going to get shortened if you're sitting a lot. All right, the next stretch we're going to do is a pretty simple one. So we're going to go up onto one knee right there, and I want to see this leg nice and 90 degrees when you're doing this. You might put a pad underneath that back foot just for a nice soft surface when you do this. But basically all we're going to do is just make sure your hips are nice and square, and we're just going to press this knee forward, and then keep the body vertically back when we get into this position. And we'll hold this for 30 seconds, and you'll feel it in that front part of that hip flexor. This is the hip flexor stretch. And don't make your body go forward. Make sure it's vertical. It helps to do this in a mirror so you can really see your body stay nice and tall, and really pushing forward into this stretch, and feel that hip flexor kind of pushing those hips down, and that'll deepen the stretch in that front of the hamstring. All right, let's switch to the other side. So like I was saying just before, same idea, knees 90 degrees, other leg straight up and down, back's nice and straight, and then we're just gonna press forward, just like that, nice and tall, holding that position, 30 seconds. Go ahead and do it twice if you want to stretch more. But all the different spots we're hitting, doing 30 seconds in each of these is probably enough if you're gonna be doing a couple, 2-3 times a week. And just holding that stretch in there, deepening as you go, make sure you're breathing. Breathing helps relax the body so you can deepen those stretches. All right. So we're almost there. Just have a couple stretches left that we're going to show you to really help stretch those hip flexors. And we're going to do a couple of them on the ground now. So this next stretch is an internal hip flexor stretch. I'll do it front on, I'll do it sideways as well. So what you're going to do is you're going to get your feet about shoulder width apart, kind of the same stance you would have in as a golf swing. Interlock your fingers before we go down. Right there, knee, elbows in. We're going to come down, you're going to put your elbows inside those knees, and then press them out as you go. And then we're going to hold that for 30 seconds. It's a nice little squat stretch, and you really feel it on those inside part of those hip flexors. Do it this way so you can see it. Hands there, down inside, and then just kind of sit and squat into that and press those elbows out as we do it. And you'll really feel it on the inside part of those hip flexors. And hold that for 30 seconds. You only need to do this one once. If you want to do it twice, that's fine. Gives you a nice deep squat. Try to keep your head up, back nice and straight, and just holding that position. So that's the internal hip flexor stretch with squat. So the last stretch I'm going to give you is one for the back of the hamstrings. If you have tight hamstrings like I do, this is a really good one to loosen your hamstrings up. And what you're going to need is assist from either a chair or something, about this height, which is about knee height. And all we're going to do is make sure your body's nice and straight up and down. and bring your leg out and just set it up there. And show your toes up in the air. Left, so I got my right toe up, I got my left foot down. Make sure the left toe is nice and square to what you're placing your foot on. And then from there, nice and tall. And we're just gonna take our hips and then bump them in. And you're just gonna hold it for like 2-3 seconds and then release. Bump, release. And you'll feel a sensation running up and down the nerves of your back of your legs. And this really helps to, to help lengthen those hamstrings and those back of those legs. So, that will help make it so you have less back pain, and it'll help those hip flexors as well. So you're just gonna go back in, hold it, bump it in, hold it, release, bump it in, release, bump it in, release. And it's not a big turn with the body like that. It's just a little gentle turn. Don't let that toe rock out when we're doing this either. Just keep it vertical, concentrate on your balance. You'll really feel the nerves when you're doing this. It's an interesting sensation through those nerves, but it really helps. For me, this is one of my favorite stretches, just for the feeling you get after the stretch, more than the feeling you get during the stretch, because it can be slightly painful, but not in a bad way. So give it a try. Feel how those legs will feel afterwards. We're gonna switch, go to the other side. After that 30 seconds, same idea. Just bumping that hip in. Bumping that hip in, stay nice and tall. Doing it for 30 seconds. You want to do it for a minute, that's fine. If you want to get a deeper stretch in there, you can pull that toe back towards you and just hold it, and that'll deepen the stretch down in those nerves through the back of that leg. Breathe in while you're doing it. Stay nice and tall, good posture. You can do that for 30 seconds. And that's my whole routine. So do this routine, or pick some of those hip stretches out that you like, and make sure you incorporate it in your day-to-day stretching routine. It'll make your golf swing better. It'll make your whole life better. Going out and walking, or going hiking, or for me, going out biking, this really helps get my body back to where it needs to be. So I have no parts of my body that are tight in one side. You sit, like I said, it's gonna shorten this side, it's gonna lengthen the other side, and we need to help lengthen this side. Do some strengthening exercises to help those glutes, those hips stay strong, with incorporating these hip flexor stretches. So that's it for my stretches today. I'm gonna get back on my bike, head back down this hill, and remember, if your feet aren't working, your swing's not working. I'll catch you guys next time.